Many people try to contact me with the silly idea of developing some kind of silly superpowers. And I would like to say something about this, because Nei Qi Gong is not about that. That would be a quite egocentric and stupid thing, you know. We are, without developing a moral conduct, not based on dogmas or some kind of nonsense like that, but on being a good human beings. Having certain superpowers, it's actually very bad for ourselves and for what we can do in life. And I get contacted by many people who are interested in Mo Pai, which is the lineage of the teachings that comes from this master, and now is dead, John Chang from Thailand. There was a documentary, and there is a documentary that is still available on YouTube called The Ring of Fire from BBC people, where we can see the abilities that this person developed. And there was also a book, and there is a book still available, I believe, which was wrote by one of his students, Costa, I don't remember the surname, where he talks about many things that I don't know to what extent they are true. They are a bit exaggerated, at least for my opinion and for my teacher opinion as well, where they talk about big fightings in the jungles, breaking trees with the power of Qi, all these kind of things, which looks like a Dragon Ball cartoon thing. And honestly, I downloaded the PDF, I read it a little bit, but I didn't feel like completing my reading, because, you know, for me it's not about that. For me it's about improving my life. In fact, let's try to think, if a person is able to do a Qi emission like the Qigong that you see on these videos, on Shifu Joe's videos or Shifu Costantino Valente's videos, let's think what it is the implication that our body turns like into a battery. So having a very strong sensation of vital energy in the body, apart from the fact that these external manifestations might look interesting, might look certainly are extraordinary in the sense are not common. Well, having a vehicle, a machine like this, working to a very high degree, for sure opens up bigger human possibilities. And this is something that we discover silently for ourselves. There's no need to talk more about these things or tell others, because otherwise we get again into the silly habit of turning somebody into a guru or thinking that somebody is special only because he has these superpowers, let's call it like this. In fact, we might even develop those things because certain practices, they work. So if we apply ourselves with dedication and constancy, eventually we will get to those things. But we miss the possibility of developing higher possibilities that belong to the human being. And the most important one of which I think it's actually to coming experientially down to the end of the separation, of the search, of the discomfort that we have as human beings, which is something that is constantly with us. So for me, and I hope for many people, this system it's a possibility to improve ourselves, to express our full potential in our life. I can talk about my personal story. Now I'm here teaching. I've been doing this for a few years now, running a business, building all the technical parts of it, having a certain discipline in my life, which wasn't present. Even now, even shooting a video was an ability that I had before. There was so much noise in my mind, in my head, that was preventing me from being natural and doing things in the world. The Nei Qi Gong system is certainly a possibility to work with something practically, not to take refuge in some kind of system of beliefs or some kind of gurus or some kind of mystical word or superpowers. It's a practical possibility to optimize ourselves to a physical extent, emotional extent, mind extent, which means also clarity, which means to improve ourselves in life, because we are here. And if there are other possibilities involved with this human experience, we can get to know them practically, without the need of somebody telling us about those things. So for all the people who contact me about learning these skills, I usually try to push them away, because as I said at the beginning, developing this high level of energy and ability of emitting Qi can be something very bad for ourselves if it is not supported by a spiritual growth. That's why with my students I also share a tool called the Wheel of Life, which is a painting of the Buddha. It's a teaching that I received from my Buddhist teacher, which helps us to gain another perspective about ourselves, our thoughts and our experiences. Growing with this path for sure can help us to end the questions, can help us to have a strong body, a strong foundation, no problem on the physical aspect, which means that we can express ourselves more efficiently here. But of course we are also involved into some kind of invisible process, because reality is not just what we see with our eyes. There are more things that can be discovered. I don't know where they end, honestly speaking. But we can get into them in a practical way, rather than through beliefs or through the acquisition of some kind of special superpowers, because this is not what the Nei Qi Gong is about. The Nei Qi Gong is about improving ourselves to be useful, to be efficient, to live this life at our highest peak, whatever it is. If I think about myself, for instance, even when I was working as a musician, there was so much conflict in my life. Even playing a concert or doing certain things was a painful experience for me, although it was something that I really enjoyed. Practicing Nei Qi Gong for me helped to create a distance from my mind and myself, and who I thought I was really in this world. So even in that occasion there was a practical aspect that I saw in life, beyond the fact that I was growing energetically. Because we don't have to see the growth as just a growth on the energetic aspect. We have to bring that growth also in our daily life, in the way we relate with others, in the way that our mind operates, in the way that our emotions are. So ultimately it is a neutral tool which doesn't involve any kind of external factor, but it's rather a way to become aware of our unconscious part and turning them into conscious aspect to do something about it and improve the way we live.